Red. It's Basic Kim. Bang on time. How you doing this evening?
All good, all good. I'm all good. What, 12 comments already? Hold on, let me just go into this chat.
What? Routed.
It full up quickie. Good evening to everybody.
Yes. Good evening. Good evening. All right. Let's start with wow. This is quite. So Mr. Flash, shout out. Mr. Flash saying abs.
Oh,
Where you at?
there.
Shout out
I've got
Philip.
my bush out tonight, guys. The bush is out.
You two carry on. I'll be back.
Philip Answer. Shout out. Big ups. Got Star Fox in the building.
Just a
We
bit
got
late, Star Fox. Just a bit late.
we got the coach for everyone to watch out for in the future. Aaron Daly. Make sure you follow the journey because this is a very good up and coming young coach and trainer.
Can I
Uh,
stop you there?
yep.
And he's from Birmingham. Let's not
Oh,
forget that.
okay, I didn't even know.
But now you do.
Okay. Big up the 0161. Yeah,
Use
Philip.
0161?
Ain't that use lots
Oh,
dialing
come
code?
off the live, man. It's 0121.
012. What's 0161? Is that
61's Manny.
Manchester? Oh,
Don't do
sorry.
that.
Sorry.
That.
My ignorance. Uh, yeah. So yeah, everyone. Oh, sorry, Muller. Big ups, big ups. You know what? I was listening to this artist called El Mean, and he actually looks like you. He's a good, very good singer, actually.
It's good to see Malls. I haven't seen him for ages.
Yes,
See you, Muller.
yep. And Untraceable Don, good to see you, man. He's saying bass is gonna cook. So
Oh,
yeah. So yes, we're here. So um, it's been a very interesting weekend of boxing. We had the Ring 4 out in Saudi Arabia. Main event was 4 a.m. UTC Arabian time, which was about 2:30 a.m. GMT to accommodate especially the East Coast Americans. So yeah, I'm sure you managed to watch this card. Um, I'm thinking, which fight should we start with, really? Um, Well, straight away off the bat. Oh, well, actually, we got the thumbnail. So, yes, base. Um, where do you think we should start?
This is all October's event. She can take us where she needs to take us tonight.
oh, okay then. Well,
Mm.
why not start off? I want to leave the final fight till last. I want to do it a little bit different this week. I'd like to start off. Can I start off with Bam and Puma? Because I remember when we spoke and you was asking for like, the predictions and what you thought about it, and I was like, I haven't really seen much of Puma. I'm not too sure. X, Y, and Z. So if I'm backing Bam, it's out of bias and lack of knowledge, really. Um, And what I can say from what I saw from Bam is that he just, to me, he made Puma look extremely poor. So whatever people had said about him before, and I kind of had this expectation, okay, let's see this fight. It's potentially going to be competitive. And it really wasn't. Bam really got to him early. I think he snapped his nose quite early. And you could hear Puma in his corner sort of panicking, saying that my nose is hurting. Like he was nervous about that. I know it's a horrible feeling because I've been smacked in my nose in sparring before, and it's not nice. Obviously not broken, but it's not a nice feeling. So obviously when he's felt that go, he sort of panicked. But I think when Bam obviously fought Sonny Edwards is clever on the IQ, knows his way around the ring, etc., etc. But Bam is now on the next level because he knows his way around the ring and obviously demonstrates power with it. It was, to me, it was a bit of a shutout. I'm kind of glad I didn't do any research because if I did, I might have been even more disappointed. It just seemed so one sided, but that sometimes happen when you put an elite fighter in with a good fighter. Not knocking Puma, but it was just different levels for me.
Yeah, I mean, Yeah, you got elite versus world class. Puma is world class, although he is much older, 9 years older. So he's coming towards the end of his prime or whatever peak he may have. So he's on the sort of the backslide of that. And he's always been a guy that he kind of grits out performances where Bam's a
Okay.
person that will style on you and he'll work, basically he'll just up the levels and make it look like, I'm levels above. Puma has competitive bouts with everyone, even when he ends up, being dominant or knocking them out, he always gives them moments, just the way he fights. But the fact that he was such a front foot, sort of come forward like pressure or like a swarming type guy
Yeah.
is, as I said the other day on picks, like that just plays into Bam's hands. When he has to go and chase you or hunt you down is where he shows lapses at times. But when he's either on the back foot or just in the middle of the ring engaging, where he can go do those semicircles and spin around the target, that's when he's at his absolute best. And we just saw that from round 1 to round 8, I believe it was, when it ended. But what I will say is credit to Puma, because even when it was looking like all hope was lost, he was still in there trying to win. Sometimes you might see someone either just
Give up.
concede that
Yeah.
they're about to, that it's not going to go their way, and either try to tuck up or just try to maybe nick it here and there. But he went for the jugular, and he said what he was going to do. He said he was going for the knockout, and he committed to that throughout, and hence why he got brutally knocked out
Mm.
at the end of the fight. But I enjoyed it. To me, it was probably I would say it was arguably the least competitive fight on the card, but not necessarily saying that's a bad thing. It just showed that there were, even though there's levels between several of the people within the card, like it was
Mm.
the clear separation between those two was more than I was expecting. I think that's what made it better,
Yeah.
because I knew that Bam would obviously do what he did, but I thought Puma would actually present more challenges than he did, which for me made it an even better performance.
With this is what I got from you guys. This is what I got. Like potentially, this could be a more challenging fight. So that's what I expected. And when you have those expectations in boxing, that's the one thing about the sport. When you get those expectations, they're quite rigid, and then when it doesn't live up to that expectation, it's almost like, what on earth is this? But yeah, Bam, it's just extremely, extremely good.
Yeah, he
And
is.
nice to watch as well. He's nice to watch. When someone's a good boxer, but they're also a pleasure to watch. I find that with Bam. Like he's a fighter that you'll follow.
Yeah,
So
he's a
shout out to Robert Garcia. Lovely man. Lovely man.
yeah. I think Bam is a boxer puncher. Very stylish. I love the way he was slipping off to the angles, doing the 45-degree turns,
Yeah.
throwing the counters, body head. But I wouldn't say that this was the least competitive fight, because the commentators, I think, gave Puma major disservice. How Mike Coppinger or anybody gave Bam the first round, I don't know, because Puma clearly won the first round. Yes, he was exerting himself very well, but if you're talking about competitiveness, Puma was definitely not the least competitive on the card out of the opponents who lost, because he was. If you're talking about who landed the most, who landed the least shots, who was less committed, it definitely wasn't Puma. He was landing a lot of hooks. Yes, they wasn't really affecting Bam, but he was landing a lot of straight rights. His style is a bit strange, but his style is very effective. The way he throws these funny looking shots, it doesn't look like he's the most schooled fighter, but it's actually very effective the way he was
Argentina.
able to land shots and really, try and get this knockout, even though he's not a big puncher.
Tough.
But he's a rude boy. Like you can see from the press conference, the weigh in, he's a rude boy, and he stuck to it in the ring. He weren't one of them ones who tried to give it and then on the
He's
night
not gonna.
capitulates. You can see he's one of them Argentinian rude boys. Like even during when he got punched in his face one time, he done this little b-boy starts at the end around me, and Base was busting up laughing. But he's just like he's a stubborn guy, and I like that. So big ups to Puma. He was a unified champion. Only gave up the belt so he could defend it
Bless
against
him.
the Japanese Ioka. So yeah, he's a good fighter. Just Bam is I feel was the performance of the night. Um,
Okay.
the angles he did, the way he set up the shot for the pull counter. It was like one of them baseball home runs. Like he like saw the ball coming and just went bam and just knocked it straight out the park. And Puma was down on the floor, and I
But it's
can't.
like he read him. He read him.
Yeah,
He
he kept,
read him so well.
yeah, on the action replay, you can see he kept his eye on him at all times, which your coaches do tell you, but in reality, you kind of might half close your eyes or whatever. But he kept his eye on the target all time, and that was just a beautiful shot. That is up there for shot of the year, in my opinion.
Mm.
So what other fights on the card? Do you want to talk briefly about the Mil
Sam
Nicky?
Noakes.
Oh, Sam Noakes, yeah.
No, I watched like the main fights. If you're going to go further down the card, no, I jumped on from Bam. Bam.
Okay. Oh, well, Sam Noakes was first.
Oh,
And,
was he? How
Mason,
dare
yeah.
I? Well, I enjoyed that fight very much. Shout out to both fighters. Yes, one man had to win. But even though Abdullah won, youngest champion at 21, is he? Is he 21 years old? So he's an absolute baby, athletic, you know. But Sam Noakes, what he did for the British fighters' reputation, as you know, we haven't got the best reputation when it comes to the American fans. So if there's any of you in these comments, I'm directing that at you. Quite a lot of them underestimate our fighters. But Sam Noakes went in there, and when you talk about digging deep, when you talk about heart, when you talk about grit, when your face is hanging off, and like you said, there could have been opportunities where he could have said, no, you know what, I'm losing this. What's the point? There was a point because he's a fighter, and he carried on. Really enjoyable match, and it wasn't all one-sided as well. It was competitive between the two. I saw Sam Noakes getting with some really nice shots. I like his inside work, the way that he was able to get the hooks on the inside and the uppercuts on the inside. I think he might have taught young Abdullah Mason a few lessons in there as well. But the thing what I like about Abdullah is, yeah, he's been down on the floor before. He's not ashamed to go down, get back up, and carry on and win the fight. To me, I'd probably say that was my favourite fight on the card, if I'm honest. I really enjoyed that fight.
Danny, go for it.
Yeah, I'd say that was my favorite fight on the card as well. I think it's for most people's favorite fight on the card. Fight of the night. Yeah, Abdullah Mason, youngest current world champion.
Congrats.
Both men cleaned up their respective continents, not just domestic, actual continents. With Sam Noakes winning the British, Commonwealth, and European, and Abdullah Mason winning the NABO and NABF title. So the only place left for them to go was a world title shot. Yes, there wasn't a current holding world champion at the time, but it was vacant, and they'd both done what they needed to do, done their full apprenticeship. So were very deserving contenders, and to pitch themselves against each other in a 50-50 matchup, when you're talking about accomplishments, was very risky but very rewarding, and I think it just made for an excellent fight. Abdullah Mason got the natural flashier skills, the attributes with the long arms, the range, and the American Midwest schooling, and Sam Noakes with that rough, rugged, I'm have it on the cobbles, England lion, come on, all that kind of energy.
Yeah.
He definitely, as you said, he definitely taught Abdullah Mason some lessons in there about the dark arts and the mean streets of Kent, where he's from in Maidstone. And Abdullah Mason, he left with a couple of lumps and cuts and stuff. Yes, it was maybe for a few Glasgow kisses, but hey, that's part of boxing, and you got to learn in there. Abdullah Mason, when he did hurt Sam Noakes with an uppercut, I think it was at about the third round, and went for it. He left himself open, which he is vulnerable to doing, which then got him caught, and he had to sort of, rethink. Then there was a couple other times when he hurt him with a body shot late on. Had he have known and read it, I think he could have maybe dropped him, but he started headhunting where Sam Noakes was able to roll and take the headshots because it was his actual body that was hurting, and he was able to get through the round. You saw his jaw was swollen, his nose was busted, but hey, it was I definitely well, of course, I definitely always want to see Sam Noakes again because I've seen a load of his fights on Queensberry. But I think that, well, I saw Turkey Al Sheikh say he wants him back on the next show.
Oh, good.
He's so impressed with him, and I think he was well received over in the States and in the Middle
Yeah.
East. So he's multi-continental value now. So his stock's raised. Abdullah Mason, 21 years old, not the finished article. I'm
No,
glad
no.
he doesn't. I'm glad he went through what he had to go through. A very tough fight because Sam Noakes started actually clawing back points late on,
Right
so
back. Yeah.
made it close. I had it 116, 112. I know a couple of judges had it 115, 113, and one judge had it the same as base 117, 111. But yeah, very highly competitive fight, and yeah, I think both men have got a very bright future. Obviously, Mason has got the probably bigger ceiling due to his youth, but at 28 years old, Sam Noakes, in my opinion,
Still
can
young.
definitely go on and win a world title. In my opinion,
Yeah, you guys ain't gonna like me tonight. Look, it was a fun fight, right? It was fun. It was competitive. However, I watched the fight. Obviously, watching it live, watching it back again, but at both times, I felt the only reason the fight was competitive is because Abdullah Mason allowed it to be competitive. He decided to fight a fight that gave Sam Noakes pretty much all of the opportunities to do something in the fight. He beat him at his own game. Um, the only time that Sam Noakes for me had success was when he was doing either dark arts, illegal tactics, head into the chest, head into the chin, headbutts to the cheek, hooking and holding and hooking. Like anytime it came to actual boxing, when it
Mm.
became to the jab, when it came to the backhand, when it came to uppercuts, when it came to body shots, even when it came to range control, everything was Abdullah Mason. In the pocket was when Sam Noakes had opportunities. But even then, as I said, that's only for me, from what I saw, is because Abdullah Mason allowed him to do so. He fought a fight to prove a point, which he didn't need to. Obviously, it cost him a couple of lumps. It cost him a head clash. It cost him a damaged cut cheek due to a head clash as well. But there will be, I feel like it will be a good thing for him. He knows he can take a shot. Now, obviously, he would have known that from before. He took the shots, the flash knockdowns. He was never wobbly on the legs, but he went down. He probably took very heavy shots in this fight at points, but showed that he could remain composed or ride slip them or roll them just enough to take some of the sting out of it. And yeah, ultimately, again, I gave Noakes a few rounds. I felt like like I said, he had his most success in the fight when he was just being dirty, rather than actually because he was winning a boxing match, which is ultimately what it is supposed to be. But outside of that, yeah, it was, to me, it wasn't a comfortable night because obviously anytime that you're in there in the in that sort of kill zone, you have to kind of be able to live in the uncomfortability. But while it was competitive, I felt it was a very, very clear Abdullah Mason win, and to me it already shows the levels between the two of them. So as you said, Danny, he's got the higher ceiling. He's already of a higher level now, and he's 7 years younger. Like, let the two of them fight again in 4 years.
Oh,
The
come on.
golfing class will be even worse.
Yeah.
Like that's
That's
like
pointless.
crazy. So, like, good for Noakes, and I think that, look, if another belt becomes vacant in the division and he still sticks around 135, because he does look like he might want to think to move up at some point. He might be able to sort of win a vacant title elsewhere. Just unfortunately, the guys who have the championships now, he's just not at that level. He's solid. He's good at what he does, but what he does only gets you so far. And I think that's what we found out on the weekend.
that was pretty harsh.
I mean, tonight is the night of harsh realities.
But
It's gonna get worse.
No,
what I
but to be
will,
fair,
what I
there's
will,
people in the comments that agree with him, but I said what I said, so
yeah, what I will say is, yes, if a man knows that maybe skill wise he might not be on par, then he's got to use any form of tools and advantages he can. So if he's got to bring it to the rough and rugged set, then if that's the way, sometimes, as they say, you got to win ugly. And Sam, I don't think he was necessarily trying to win ugly, but he was definitely trying to
Drag him into the deep end.
drag him in down to the deep end of the pool, and you know, um, use any bending of the infringement of rules which he can get away with, if necessary, to try and get himself, back in some kind, or try and get into an ascendancy, because he knew he was outmatched in skill and natural talent wise. So I don't blame him for it. I think you got to do what you got to do, and at least he was trying in there.
I'm with Danny on this. Yeah,
That's cool.
definitely with Danny on that. Who else is next? Can you remind me of the order? Hold on. How can we forget the alleged boring fight with Devin Haney and Brian Norman Jr., which to me wasn't a boring fight. Base will probably go the total opposite to what I want to say, but I enjoyed that fight a lot. I think he just outclassed Norman. And like I said, if I'd never seen any Norman fights or hadn't had a look at him, I would have thought Norman probably wasn't the right person to be in there with him. But I think, I enjoyed the fight. I like what Devin Haney did. I like the fact that he kept on. I always sometimes compare boxing to Street Fighter. When you find a move that works on your opponent, you keep doing it. And it was the check hook. That was the shot that kept on working. Haney moving all the way around the ring, the aggressor, and just really ruined any work that Brian was trying to get off. It was sad because I wanted Brian Norman to win. I really did. Apparently, Haney was the underdog. I don't believe that. But I wanted Norman to win because I did. No reason at all. But Haney put on a really, really good performance. And when I saw, I think it was Norman going back into the corner, and I was a bit annoyed with his father. So if there's any Brian Norman fans listening, his father had his mobile phone in his hand when he was giving him instructions. Now, I don't know why as a lead coach you'd have a mobile phone in your hand and why you would be asking somebody what round it is, which potentially showed either he was in panic or he wasn't focused properly. So things like that kind of annoyed me, and because I didn't necessarily hear all of the corner advice, could he have got better advice in the corner? That he was humble in defeat. I think his father said the best man won, but I don't want to be seeing my coach in my corner with a mobile phone in their hand. Why does Red love to back a loser? I don't know. I've got a soft spot for losers because I can turn them into winners. Anything else, Star Fox? And there's three people. There's three people on tonight's live, by the way. Three people. Danny from Fight Fan. There's the lovely Base the Kid as well. And there's myself. Three people. Fight Talk Live is three people. So thank you to those that really do big up the channel. With all three of us that are on it. Three of us.
So petty. Danny, do you want to go
live, Danny? Great live, Base.
You're on mute.
Big up October Red, the founder of Fight Talk Live, by the way.
Oh, you didn't have to say that.
No, I did. Just saying.
Right. Yeah, Danny, do you want to go or should I go next with this one?
I think I should go because I can smell some serious gas Mark 7 about to come from you. So
gas 200 degrees.
Yeah,
I like that gas Mark 7.
For me, yes, it was the least captivating fight of the night, but it did have me gripped. One, because I noticed Devin Haney, he was doing things which made me very worried for him. I predicted that he was actually going to get knocked out, to be fair.
Did you?
Yeah, I did. I thought the left hook was going to catch him. I was one of those guys who thought the left hook was going to get him. So when he's come running to the ring, I thought, oh, bad signs. You're running to the ring, but the way you ran into the ring with your team looked so unorganized. I thought, what's going on? You just don't even look coordinated. So I'm like, okay, first round happens. The first thing I notice is Devin Haney looked like his legs were just trembling. They were twitching, 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 like he was electrocuted, like when Marv got electrocuted in Home Alone 2. So
Mark.
I just thought, what is going on with these legs? Like, and his legs look skinny. They always do anyway. But I just thought, oh, you're twitching. Your legs look skinny. Brian Norman looks, kind of jacked and stuff. I'm just thinking, oh, this isn't looking good, Um, so he gets through the round, and I see him when he gets back to the corner. It's like he half talks to himself. Second round, he comes out, throws a left hook, straight right, drops Norman, dips down, taunts him in the face like, haha, gotcha, B. Um, and then he goes for the finish, doesn't manage to get it. From there, he then just goes on to display excellent boxing skills. Yes, they're not the most captivating. Yes, they're not worth $90 or $100 if that's what they're charging in America. I think they were charging $60 for this one though in America pay per view. But we had the rest of the card. But it was a dominant performance in what it looked like on the polls as well, when it showed the fan polls of who fought, and many pundits thought that he was going to lose the fight. So he actually went into the fight as the underdog.
That's mad.
Yes, we saw Conor Benn sleeping on Eddie Hearn's shoulder.
That's Conor, isn't it?
Yeah. But he's going to do that. We saw their argument about, you're not exciting and you're so good, you're boring. Eddie Hearn, raining on his parade and popping down Devin Haney style when he was singing his praises from the rooftop before, whilst he was promoting him, which I think is a bit of hypocrisy within the democracy, and trying to edge out any talk of Conor Benn having to fight Devin Haney for the WBO strap, the same WBO strap that his father Nigel Benn won in his first world title victory. So people must remember that it was not the WBC strap, it was a WBO at light middle. So yeah, I think people are being a bit harsh on Devin because people tend to not like Devin's antics out of the ring. They might not like Bill Haney. Yes, Devin Haney is corny. Yes, he is cheesy. I do, yeah, because he's a bit of a wannabe Floyd. He says the exact same lines as Floyd.
I saw that.
He says he's Pretty Boy Floyd reincarnated. He says he's an A+ fighter. I'm an A+ fighter. He's a C+ fighter. He's doing the whole like rhetoric like verbatim. So I'm like, yes, you kind of look like Floyd's lost love child, but you're not Floyd Sunshine. Just be yourself, and you'll be all right. But yeah, I think it was a good performance, especially as remember, if you're talking about his last performance when he was literally running around New York Times Square,
that was horrible.
And this was a much better improved performance, as he got demons in his head, I imagine, from getting dropped about 3 times in the Ryan Garcia fight. So yeah, I think it was a good performance for what it was. Yes, the least captivating, but I don't think it's as bad as everyone else is trying to make out it to be, in my personal, humble opinion.
Looks like for the first time tonight, all 3 of us are agreed.
No.
I said from the start that Haney was going to win that fight. I said he would win it on points, and I said it would be quite comfortable. Just due to the fact that he's faster, still got the reach. Basically, I just believed he'd be able to nullify pretty much all the stuff that Norman did. Now, I didn't expect him to start becoming the left hook specialist in the fight from early. But in terms of the fight, I didn't think it was boring at all. I thought it was a very entertaining fight. Yes, there were maybe moments where you might hope that he'd let his hands go a bit more, or that they could engage a bit more. However, there's a lot of, to me, this is what I saw, and I've watched the fight back a few times just to double check to make sure I wasn't, just like imagining things. But the majority of times when people were saying that Devin is, he's doing the illegal tactics of obviously ducking underneath the waist and then he's clinching to stop the action. The majority of the time that I saw anyone clinching, it was Brian Norman Jr. He quite visibly had Devin's arms multiple times locked into place after he's fallen in, smothering his own work, just because Devin's managed to avoid his lead hand or the backhand. And when they were in the clinches or when they were up close with a free hand at any point, the only person who was trying to punch was Devin. So
Yeah, in the clinch, yeah.
in the clinch, and even like I said, even on the inside, the only time Norman, anytime he tried to initiate an attack, was always from outer range, loading up from one side of the IMAX screen to the other, so you can see the shot coming. Devin, he had nothing, but he was watching those punches going in slow motion. I was watching them in slow motion on the TV, and I had it on 1.5x. Like it was just, I don't understand how we ended up being that slow. Now, yeah, the Sasaki fight obviously flattered him a little bit. The Santillan fight to a degree flattered him but even in that fight for several rounds he was taking a pasting. But the thing about Brian is he's good with guys will come towards him and obviously try to give him the openings or give him the opportunities.
But not
We've
box.
we've clearly seen now that he hasn't quite got the level it takes just yet. He's 23, that's fine, but there's just not enough substance there at the moment, and that's clearly the reason why him and his dad, or maybe his dad more than him, was ducking that Jerron Ennis fight for all that
Yes.
time and only started talking once they knew that he was tight at the weight and that he was potentially about to move up and tried to create clout off of the name afterwards. Um, it was, like I said, it was. I found it entertaining. I didn't think it was a boring fight. Conor Ben, cool. Connor can be Connor. Eddie can be Eddie, but ultimately, like anyone and their partner can see that all you're trying to do is create separation and distance between you, because if you go in the ring with Devin Haney like will school Conor Ben every single day of the week. He won't have to worry about whether he's got a good chin or not, because Conor ain't got the level of ability to be able to touch it. He ain't been in there with enough credible people. I personally don't think he's got the right kind of trainer to be able to exploit those necessary openings that you might get. And after the Garcia thing, I also just don't think that Haney is gonna allow himself to be in those positions. Not to mention the fact that what's the one criticism everyone says about Devin Haney? All he does is fight smaller guys, always smaller, shorter. Well, what is Connor to him? Like Devin's about 5'10", 5'9.5", 5'10". Connor's like what 5'7". Like so, ultimately, he's got the longer reach. Just keep him on the end of a jab, and bearing in mind now that we actually see with someone who is a big puncher like Brian Norman, you can tell at this point at 147, the same as at his first fight at 140, Devin appears to have some power. He appears to have some pop, and you're not just going to be trying to run into through the front door when you've got a defense that can be leaky, especially someone like Connor who, if he wants to, will just swing wild shots and leave his chin exposed. So outside of that, yeah, look, I thought it was a good performance. And it's, to me, it's just a fact that people don't like Devin the same way as because people don't like Shakur. If it was Tank Davis in the ring who had that exact same performance as Devin Haney, no one would have been saying that,
Yeah,
oh,
you
he was boring, oh, he puts me to sleep,
Yep.
oh, he just doesn't want to go for it, he doesn't want to throw punches, he's scared and because because they like Tank. For whatever reason, they like Tank. And name your favorite fighter and give them Devin's performance there, and I guarantee no one says anything.
Real.
So as far as I'm concerned, like the noise is the noise. I made my feelings clear on Monday regarding the whole True Geordie thing, so I'm not gonna say that again here.
Could you just give us a summary though?
I said he's a clown for what he said, for the video he made calling him a coward, and then he was even more of a clown for the video, the post fight video that he made, where he was basically still just being bitter and salty because the guy he wanted to win didn't win. Same as he was acting
Oh right.
stupid on the live watch along as well for
Oh, I
the
didn't
entire
see that.
time.
I didn't see any of it.
I've
I don't,
seen
I don't watch.
I like and enjoy a lot of his content, and I think it's cool. But it's like if you're that bitter, just leave the subject alone, because you're not. There was nothing you're saying in that that's like of any substance or any note. But yeah, anyway, that's by the by. For that, I like the performance. I watched it several times, and no one can say, "Oh, Because I know sometimes you get the comment of, oh yeah, but like if you don't get to have an opinion if you don't pay for the fights. And I do subscribe to that some certain points, but because I did pay for it, I can have that opinion. I enjoyed it. My money was well spent. That's the way I
Yeah,
look.
yeah, I agree. But you know what, Base? I think I didn't like the way that Connor was sort of. Well, it wasn't Connor, wasn't it? It was Eddie that was saying, "Yeah, we probably won't go for that fight." That was looking at Rolly Romero, Barrios, and somebody else I can't remember. I think that if Connor wants to test his boxing ability, the perfect fight for him is Devin Haney. Perfect.
Yeah, but he won't do that
He
fight because he
won't.
doesn't have boxing ability compared to Haney, and Eddie knows that as well. Hence why he's downplaying the fight. It's the same thing Oscar De La Hoya does when he doesn't want to put his guy in the ring with someone. You create clear separation between you and them so that you can downplay and say, oh, well, there's no money in the fight. It's boring. Why would we take that when we got better options? You know, I mean, sometimes I understand it and it makes sense.
Politics.
Other times it's just nice. And unfortunately, um, you know, Eddie can come across as very bitter and very, you know, sort of, I guess, very spiteful when things aren't going his way. Yes, yeah, he may have had several paydays that he had to pay Devin that he didn't really want to, but you know, let's put it this way. Let's see if something happens between him and Ben Whitaker if he does the same thing. I'm pretty sure that Eddie's starting to show some of those colors that people were talking about years ago, which I, you know, it's starting to ring true. Maybe the whole bitterness of boxing thing is starting to get to him.
There's yeah, yeah. You know what? There's no friends in business, is there? At the end of the day, so if you, like they say, if you want loyalty, buy a dog, and
Yeah.
it's
Yeah.
one of them. Um, the main fight then?
Um,
Yeah, go on, Danny. So I know you're the Mexican monsters advocate, and you always have been.
yeah. Well, yeah. For now, he's now adopted. He's really adopted the Mexican monster moniker. You know, when it's been given to you by a man of the ilk of a man like Mike Tyson, you will adopt it. And I feel he is leaning into that Mexican heritage more now. It is more lucrative. You know, he was more leaning into the Ecuador side before. He would more always try to show the Ecuador flag and the balaclava and that
I
type of
love
stuff.
that. I like balaclavas. I do like balaclavas.
Yeah, yeah, I know you like all that. And
Yeah, he's the Ecuadorian monster.
yeah, the Ecuadorian monster. So yeah, going into the fight, you heard, well, all of you who was inside here last week, and you guys both know that I did predict him to stop Anthony Yard. Um, but I did say that I thought it was going to be between rounds 9 and 12, I believe. Um, but from the off, um, David Benavidez just gave no respect from the jump. He just marched forward at him. Anthony Yard, his eyes was wide. He was very twitchy. I feel he tried to start the fight similarly to how he started the
Better Bill.
Serbia fight on the back foot, trying to look for those check hook counters. The problem is, even throughout the fight, when he was trying to do these shots, the problem is you've got only very few individuals are four-wheel drive fighters. Most fighters are either front-wheel drive fighters, which are most of them, and
Yep.
some are rear-wheel drive fighters.
Hmm.
So when I'm talking about that, I mean in people who are able to get purchase power on their punches from rear wheel drive. Like I know people try to talk about Floyd's power, but he's able to get power off of the back foot, check hooks, knocking Ricky Hatton into turn posts. You know, he's always used great counter shots. Terence Crawford is a rear is a I say he's a more rear wheel drive fighter because what he does, he likes to lure you into his shots and catches you as you come in and then clocks you and then down you go and stuff like that. But he can also do front wheel drive. He's a man who can do both. Roy Jones could do both, but Anthony Yard, with his power, his physique, is a front wheel drive fighter. He should have been trying to come forward, press the action. Um, I don't feel I don't know. It just the tactics were off. I don't know if the ambition was fully there and the self belief, because even in the build up, he kept when we're talking about how when he went into the build up with Kovalev, he was saying everything is timing. Everything is timing. He went to the first Elida Alvarez fight when Kovalev got knocked out by him, and then he thought that he was going to fight Kovalev next, but he ended up having to rematch Elida to get the belt back, and then that's when Yard fought him. When he fought Beterbiev, prior to that, he went to the Joe Smith Jr. fight in New York. His review was, looking at them, to me, he's slow. They're both slow. So, yeah, everything's timing. This time is going to be it, because one, Kovalev was an aging champion who was definitely faded, who'd previously been knocked out by a man who was a super middleweight, who was not a puncher at super middleweight, in Andre Ward, by a body shot. It was well known and documented that he liked to drink Russian Standard, so he was weak and faded, and an old champion. Beterbiev, an aging champion. This guy in David Benavidez, a young champion at 28. There wasn't that same talk of, everything's timing. He looks this. I think I can take him. It was, I just wanna effing shoot out. I just want to shoot out. So it's like he's reduced himself to now saying, I don't think I can beat you in any department. So let's just have a shootout where I can at least make it 50-50 and hope for the best. That mindset alone is not the right mindset, in my opinion, into going into a fight with. And I think David Benavidez knew this, hence he stuck it on him. And when he did, Yard didn't have any answers for him. We saw in round 5 when he hit him with a 18 punch combo when he had his arm locked, reminiscent of when I had a street fight in school back in the day, which Base was in attendance for, and he can attest. Yes, it wasn't as fast as shots, but I did the move. Facts. It's documented. So my nephew I think heard about it. My nephew David Benavidez heard about it, and he pulled off that move. Also, I think that a lot of UK fighters, I feel, don't have the right mindset for boxing, in my opinion. I think a lot of new age boxers in general.
What do you mean?
I feel they want to look good first in life, and
Noakes didn't.
No, I'm not talking.
There's exception to this. There's exceptions.
Yeah, what I'm talking about. I feel
Edgar Berlanga said that about Hamza Shiraz, and he got clarted.
Yeah, but I'm thinking it's a certain type of lifestyle where, when Yard's getting hit, he was more concentrating on when he's getting hit with combinations, he keeps shrugging his shoulders and flexing his pecs to show, like, I don't know, to look swaggy, but that's not the message. You got to go for it. Like, even David Lemieux, who also got uppercutted about 25 times in that first round where he nearly got finished off, at least he went for it, in my opinion. He was actually slugging it out and really trying to bang with David Benavidez, and he actually did have a shootout. Yes, he come up second.
Morrell?
Yeah, no, David Lemieux.
Oh, Lemieux, sorry.
Yeah, David Lemieux, who got finished off in 3 rounds. Andrade went for it. Yes, he didn't have the artillery, but he actually went for it. Yard, I don't feel, went for it. I don't know why, and as I said, what it is, I've noticed with a few of these boxers, a lot of them, they're worried about how they look. You got Gervonta Davis worrying about his, having that nice gelled cane roll. You got, David Adelaide, he wants to look quite nice and hot boy, bad boy, rude boy. Anthony Yard, when he's in the gym, you see him, he wears a bonnet and stuff like that. That's not the type of look and mindset. You got to be kind of, as I said, remember when I spoke about the older generation, our granddads wouldn't be caught with hairstyles and things like that on their heads. Our parents, our dads wouldn't be caught with that. But this generation, I feel, has not got the same testosterone level, and it's showing. Unfortunately, there are people from other demographics like the Chechens, the Dagestanians, the Mexicans, South Americans, who keep it traditional, keep it quite primitive, and that is what helps them, I feel, in combat sports, and why they are excelling over other people. I feel especially those who are westernized.
Can I be a devil's advocate and speak for the others? So you're saying that a man wearing a bonnet defines his masculinity?
it's
Is
not
this
the
podcast vibes?
is this. I'm just saying it's not the right look for a fighter, in my opinion. Mike Tyson wouldn't. You wouldn't see Mike Tyson doing that. You wouldn't see Marvin Hagler, even Sugar Ray Leonard, who was, you know, billed as a poster boy, a good-looking man, but even a Sugar Ray Leonard and a Sugar Ray Robinson, who like to look a bit, you know, nice and that down the juke joint or wherever he was going. But yeah, in the what was it, round? There was at end of the round. I think it was end of round 6. The corner, they didn't even know what round it was. They thought it was round 6, but it was round 7. Yes, Tunde did well when Yard's nose was busted. Told him, "Don't blow your nose, because if you do, your eyes are gonna blow up," which is a true thing. So well done for that. But when it comes to stemming the flow of the blood, the flow of the blood from the nose, I feel they may have needed somebody a bit more experienced than the guy they had in the corner. I know the guy very well, Archie. I feel that he didn't do the necessary thing to get a nosebleed stemmed, which is something which is quite standard in, you know, a cut man's job. It's not like you're dealing with a big gash over the eye and stuff like that. He couldn't get that under control, which was then bothering Anthony Yard.
Yes, it was.
When then in the 7th round, when he did ship another combination, then went to the ground to sort of gather himself together.
Yeah, discombobulated, wasn't he?
Yeah, it was a lot of shots going in. And what it is because David Benavidez is very adventurous with his combinations. And what it is, I feel also a lot of the light heavyweight, a lot of boxers in general, but a lot of the UK light heavyweights, what they need to do is take a mental leaf out of his book, where it's fine to be a thinking fighter, but don't overthink things. Because when you're looking at David Benavidez, the way he fights, he's not second guessing things. He's never hesitant.
There's no hesitation, is there?
There's no hesitation. He has full belief and he's moving to you. Where Jamie TKV said, "I'll move to you if you move funny," David Benavidez is actually on that. That's why he said to him, I said to him in there, "You wanted that war, right? Let's go." And he just sort of went, and it was like, yeah. And he tried to gather himself. He said that he got hit on the ground. I think it kind of skimmed him, but also Yard. I wasn't sure if his knee actually hit the ground.
He wasn't on the ground at the time of the shot.
Yeah.
I don't know.
He leaned down into the rope. So Benavidez is you're not down yet. Your glove and your knee ain't down. So I've clocked you just one more, and that's when he's gone on the floor. The refs took 2 points of him, which I thought was a bit excessive, but I think Benavidez didn't care. You didn't see him protest because he thought the writing's on the wall.
Going to be over in a bit, yeah.
Yeah, and he hit him with 2 massive left hooks, and you know it really shook Yard to his boots. His legs, it locked like a line bike that had run out of time. So it was bad, and the ref done the right thing and stepped in there. But you know, listen. Yard always shows bravery in there, but skill-wise, he wasn't at the races with David Benavidez, and we can't put it down to 12 amateur fights because David Benavidez didn't have no amateur experience really either. I thought he had no amateur fights, but he actually said that he had 15. But we know that most of his time was actually spent in the wildcard gym losing weight, as we saw. He was a fat kid.
Yeah,
you know what I mean? He was put in there with Triple G and stuff. So he was one of the, he's got that fat energy with those energy levels, which allows him to reel off combinations time after time after time. How his style reminds me of a faster version of Nathan Cleverly, who's also a pressure fighter, relentless, works the head and body, big work rate, running up them mountains in Wales with Enzo Calzaghe and Joe Calzaghe. But obviously he's more adventurous with the combinations and stuff like that. But I've always spoken about David Benavidez from years when nobody believed in him. Everyone laughed at me. I know slowly but surely, Base is becoming a believer that he is different from the other PBC boys. And yeah, he's gonna. We'll talk about after we do the review. We'll talk about afterwards where he's going next, because I know that is going to be a subject.
Of course it is.
But Yard, what he does, I think he has to come back to the domestic scene and actually fight the domestic guys, because I know Tunde said, no disrespect to Dan Aziz, no disrespect to Craig, but these guys are not on Anthony Yard's level, and if he fights, and if any of them fight Yard, they would get knocked out. You know, I'm not here to gloat or anything like that because I would never do that. Yard is a nice guy, very brave, but in my opinion, you need to fight guys like Craig and Dan Aziz, Joshua Boatsi, Shakan Pitters. There was Jose Burton, there was Callum Johnson, there was Bob Ajasafi, there was Jose Burton, there was all these guys that you could have fought, and you only fought Lyndon Arthur. But you can come back and fight these guys, and let's see who really is the second best in Britain. Because right now, Callum Smith has more than proven himself to be the number one. But in my opinion, Craig Richards, if he was to fight Anthony Yard, he is on his level. He's definitely on his level, and I'd pick Craig Richards to beat Anthony Yard if they fought.
Base, I need to hear you. I need it.
I don't know if you want me to go.
Oh, I need it. I need it. I need it. I'm loving this. It's very interesting. Please go on.
I don't know. Look, there's not a lot more I can say. I've said, look, here's the thing. I've said the same things over and over again. Like, what did they say? The definition of insanity: doing the same thing, saying the same thing over, and expecting a different result. How many times are we going to talk about the 12 amateur fights? Which, let's be honest, Anthony, you know and I know you had more than 12 amateur fights. There's enough evidence out there for the people that want to do the research. So let's stop that nonsense. The Tunde thing, at this point, it is what it is. If you guys have got that level of loyalty in you, cool, congratulations, no problem. I've spoken numerous and numerous times about nobody knows what level he's at, because he's either fighting the best of the best that he's always the underdog against, or he's fighting absolute no-hopers that no one has heard of. Probably even their own family members don't know who they are half the time. And it's just tiresome. And what makes it even worse is when we're going to talk about I'm learning, like it's just the experience, like they've got more experience than me a lot, or I just had the 12 amateur fights even though it's really closer to like 24. Like, look, if we're being honest, you can't even use that again, because like Danny just said, David Benavidez had no amateur fights. He turned pro from, I think it was 17, and he basically is just fighting on the road, and he hasn't had that many fights more than Anthony Yard. I think it's maybe
They've
8.
had the same. They've had the same
Are they
31.
the same now?
The same 31 pro fights. They both was 30.
Okay, I tried to give him some grace. Right, he's had, so that just shows you one thing. And yes, I'm not David Benavidez's biggest fan, but I will give him credit when the credit's due. He's fought decent level opposition. Whether he fought them at the time he was supposed to fight them, or if they were like fadeds or whatever, but he fought world level guys. He fought upper like North American level guys on the way up to getting to where he needs to be, to therefore get the necessary schooling and skills that he's got. He needed a Ronald Gavril early in his career to drop him and have him have to come back from that adversity to prove that he could do it. He needed those hard spars in all of those sort of the harsh gyms, and fighting guys like Gennady Golovkin as a 15-year-old kid, just getting the understanding. He needed all of that stuff to apply to him to get him to the level of seasoning that he's at. And ultimately, you chose not to do that. You decided that you're going to try and coast this easy street thing and try and nick a title from someone who is old and way past the hill. Well, unfortunately, the skill levels that you have and the skill levels that your trainer is able to install into you were not of the necessary levels. It's unfortunate, but that's all it is. And again, if we're going to talk about the lack of amateur fights and all that stuff and how you need experience, you can't even use that excuse again, because Fabio Wardley had 4 white collar fights. He ain't even had an amateur fight, and now he's a flipping world champion. Like, he's cut it out. All the nonsense, all the talking, I'm not, I take the fights. Like, I've never turned down a fight. I don't turn down these fights. There's streams of evidence of quote unquote ducking or not keeping the same energy when it's people in your own backyard. And if you didn't want to fight the Joshua Boatsis, the Callum Smiths, the Jose Burtons and the Dan Aziz and all these kind of guys, you could have fought the Krasnitskys, you could have fought the Bo Cells, you could have fought people like you could have fought even Badu Jack where before he decided to move up to cruiser and those, because he was an older guy. You could have got some. You could have got some from there. You could have fought man like a Marcus Brown. You could have fought these kind of guys who would have been in and around that level, where at least then you can say, okay, I can actually learn something from this. What do you learn from fighting a Ralph Vilkans? What do you learn from fighting a Sergey Koikov? The guy that was the 4 and 48, the light middleweight that you brought
Ramirez.
up to light heavyweight, the Ramirez guy, 4 and 48, brother. What do you learn from that? What do you learn from fighting a Dex Spellman? It was about 7 weeks. No, it was 5 weeks after Lyndon Arthur fought him.
Yeah.
What do you learn from that? And at the time, Dex Spellman was an area level, maybe a southern, maybe an English level guy. What do you learn from these fights? To then go into, then you obviously have the Lyndon Arthur fight, culture shock. So then you lot double down on the non-fighting of decent opposition. You get it back in the rematch. Congratulations. Then what do? Exact same thing. 8, 9 months out the ring. Don't fight nobody. Try to go into the biggest and baddest guy in the division just because, oh, well, if I win, brilliant, I'm the champion. If I lose, well, I was never supposed to win. And oh, okay, I just needed more experience, but I gave it a good go. At this point in time, I'm sorry. You giving it a good go doesn't wash anymore. You're either good enough or you're not. And right now, all you've proved is that you're not. It's sad. It's unfortunate because I think Anthony could have been. I
Yeah.
think he could have been good, but let's not act like he's still in his late 20s. The guy's 34. He's going to be 35 soon. There's no improvements that's going to happen. No trainer you're bringing in is going to fix what you haven't fixed already. There's no amount of anything. Ultimately, you can barely make light heavyweight anymore. You're too small for cruiserweight. You ain't got the punch power that people believed that you had, and I said that from day dot. You can't make the weight comfortable. You've got no engine. And now your punch resistance looks like it's gone out the window as well. And you also have a terrible poker face because whenever you're under pressure, everybody knows it. All of that stuff is a recipe for disaster at the world level. So either move back down to where you should be or maybe retire. Or maybe he said he's looking at management at the moment. That might be the better option for him because he might actually have some proper success in that realm. That's kind of how I feel about it. I don't want to be saying this stuff because I genuinely think there was something there, but it's been mismanaged from day dot. Okay, maybe they did well on the Adidas thing, even though it wasn't an official sponsorship, but that's something I ain't gonna talk about right about now. I don't want to get into any more trouble, but it's it's frustrating. It's sad. It's disappointing. It's all of the above, but ultimately, it's just yeah, it is what it is at this point. There's no point in me going on a rant or any kind of thing like this again. It is what it is. It's not going to change. If he fights Boatsi, I've still got Boatsi even in his weakened state. If he fights Craig Richards, I've got Craig Richards. I've got Dan Aziz against him. I've got Ezra Taylor against him. As I've even got Willie Won't Hutchinson against him as well. Like he's just not where he needs to be, and he is way too far gone to be pulled back right now. So you wanted it, Red, you got it.
Yeah, no, and I hear every minute of it. One of the things I will say, just to add on to that, and to be fair, I think Blood Beats brought up exactly what I was going to talk about, is who was he sparring in preparation for the Mexican Monster. You don't really hear much about who is sparring, whether they keep it secret or whatever. But usually see people take pictures in camp just to show a little bit of preparation. But to be fair, I don't follow Yard, so he could have posted who he's sparring, and I wouldn't have seen it. But I would like to have known how he prepared for somebody like Benavidez, a front foot aggressive fighter that's able to cut the ring off. You're going to have to be able to nullify his work, utilize potential feints. Like you said, he's a front foot fighter. Try and come forward. All of these things were going through my mind. And I just think that there was not real good preparation towards the fight. I always do believe that Yard, if he doesn't get you out there close to the mid rounds, he's going to start to fade into the later rounds. I've always said that about him. And believe it or not, whoever is listening, I did actually want Anthony Yard to win. It was sad to see him get such a beating because that was savage. It got to the point where I looked away from the screen because those Josh Kelly 900 hooks coming in at once was just, it was terrible. And then to see him literally go on the floor because it's like he needed a rest was something else. He really didn't like when his nose was bleeding. Like, I'm not saying that it put fear into him, but he looked extremely uncomfortable. Like you said about not knowing what round it is, does that suggest some panic in the corner, not concentrating? I did hear Tunde give him some advice early on, but I do believe that we
Shout out
tried to.
Tony. Sorry, Red, but
Okay,
this
that's
seems
Ben
very
Whittaker's
interesting.
dad, and he said we tried to get hold of Yard's team for sparring, but didn't get a reply. There you go, then, and that's from Ben Whittaker's dad. Shout out to you, and I'll see you this week. I look forward to seeing you. So, to me, if you fail to prepare, you prepare to fail. I will say I do agree about the level of opponents. It's either let's get this great money fight, this dangerous fight where we can get some money, or we're going to fight lower level opponents. But there's this thick skin of British fighters that are waiting there, good quality, good caliber of British, European, world level fighters from UK that opportunities could have been grabbed with. But there weren't. And yeah, I do agree, Jessica. Too much time on the ropes. He just couldn't seem to get off the ropes. Benavides.
Big up Jessica. That's actually one of my workmates.
Oh, okay. Shout out to Jessica. But yeah, it was just it was a sad fight to see. He started, like I said, round 1 and 2. He looked like he was okay, but as I think we stepped into round 4, the tide started to turn, and I think he just ran out of ideas, and it was just not getting any better as the fight goes on. Good stoppage by the referee. So to me, it was who was he sparring? How did he prepare for the camp? I did hear Tunde give advice in the corner. I've never said that he should leave Tunde, and I don't intend to start now. That's down to him. That's his choice. I agree with you, Base. There's a level of British fighter that he should be fighting in between these like high level fights. And unfortunately, no, I'm not a boxer. No, I've never laced up the gloves and gone in the ring as an amateur or a pro, but I pay for the fights. I do have an opinion. You may not agree with it, but it doesn't necessarily mean I'm wrong. Or if you see someone and you don't agree with what they say, you want to kick their head in. It just doesn't work like that because we pay. We're part of that ticket. We're part of that purse because we pay to watch you fight, whether we're at the fights or not. I pay for my DAZN subscription that includes these pay-per-view fights. So sometimes you have to learn how to take a little bit of criticism so you can get better. Nobody's perfect and we all make mistakes. And if we listened a little bit more, you're saying it's probably too late, but if we listened a little bit more to other people as well that have got your best interests at heart and not just following you around saying yes, you might actually improve.
All lions in the camp. Before you even get, one thing I even forgot. Okay, so whose bright idea was it to go on the back foot against
Yeah,
Benavides,
that's
who's got
yeah,
the longer reach
yeah.
and is taller than you, and is obviously a front foot person? Everyone knows if someone is a front foot fighter, you're supposed to try and back them up and put them on the back foot. So why are you voluntarily going on the back foot when you're supposed to? When you look like Mr. Muscle Man, when you look like Mr. I'm the big strong bull
Muscle
in there.
Dolphin
Like
fight.
why are you trying to dance like a gazelle, knowing that you got no gas tank? If you say to a man, let's just have a shootout, then have a shootout. Why are you trying to box on the back foot when you've never been good at that in the first place? You didn't
Did
get success against
Benavides
Lyndon
force him?
Arthur
Did
fighting on the back foot. You lost the first fight doing that. You won the second and the third by being a lot more
front foot?
aggressive. Like,
Yeah.
I don't know how you do that. Even if you think, oh, this guy might have power, you actually take the power off of the shots when you lean into the shots rather than leaning away,
To
allowing
get
the
the
shots
full
to get full
extension.
extension. The whole thing just goes to show there's a lack of IQ. And it's
Mm.
crazy that there's a lack of that. You still talking about experience and all this stuff now, but it makes sense because you don't fight no one that makes you have to actually think these things. And then by the time you do fight someone, that point, you're so like high strung on energy, nervous energy, or getting knocked out. You probably don't even remember the lessons that you needed to learn because you got concussion.
And what I will say is the thing about I still need to learn it. Why for me I can't accept that is because when you look at he's had 31 pro fights now. He's had more pro fights than Craig Richards. He's had more pro fights than Dan Aziz. He's had more pro fights than Joshua Buatsi. He's had more pro fights than Lyndon Arthur. He's had more pro fights than all of those light heavyweights. The only one he hasn't had more pro fights than is Callum Smith. That's it. He's had more pro fights than Callum Johnson even. Do you see what I'm saying? So if he's had the most pro fights out of the UK lot, barring Callum Smith, then you can't say you're still learning and you need to learn. He was going back with his hands down, getting Benavidez was actually jabbing him with the backhand right cross.
Yeah.
And it's landing. He's popping him with the right cross like it's a jab.
It's like it's a jab, yeah.
And then hitting him to the bottom. There was no
I think he was tired.
No,
Danny,
but
his hands dropped.
No, it happened from the second. Was happening from the first round. I remember even the fourth
round.
I'd
say his hands dropped about the third or the fourth, and I thought, he's tired. He's starting to get tired.
October from the first round, David threw for his level a very slow overhand right, and it crashed into Yard's head. And I thought, how did you not get away out of that? That came from Telegraph Hill. Then there was even at the second round where David Benavidez threw something from so hellacious. He fell over the ref's foot and Bay started busting up like. But he was actually just throwing shots out of character, even thinking of new ideas of what type of shots to throw. It kind of got
he was having fun, too much fun.
Yeah, he even turned southpaw, and I've never seen him do that.
Yeah, I saw that. He switched, but it was quickly. But he did switch to southpaw, then he changed back.
Yeah, but it's like,
changeover.
Yeah, I know people are giving Tunde stick, saying, "Oh, he was in the corner saying you're a warrior, you're a lion."
No, he gave him advice. He didn't just say something like that.
Exactly, I know. He was, and remember, he's trying to motivate him and stuff like that. At the end of the day, Tunde has done an excellent job for him as far as maximizing his financial status and getting him free world title shots. People say, oh, he should have gone with another trainer. Would another trainer have got him free world title shots? So there's pros and cons to it. Yes, the development might have not been what most of us feel he should have done. But then, had he have gone through the mill of the UK guys,
getting him the shots as well, though.
Yeah, I was about to say a trainer wouldn't have done. Remember, that's a manager's job, and the promoter. Like Tunde can be the manager; he didn't have to be the trainer. So the trainer still could have got 3 world title shots with a different trainer.
Yeah, but I guess when you do more, you'll do more for a man when you're getting 2 slices rather than 1 slice. Do you know what I mean? But whether he was with a different trainer or not, and he went through if he went through the mill of the UK guys, he might have never seen a world title shot. Because personally, I think there would have been a few UK guys who would have beaten him, and I think he knows deep down. I will say that he was offered sparring by another person, and he turned it down in the lead up to this fight. A fighter that I know very well, come to your own conclusions, but and he turned that down. So there was guys to spar who was up there. There's guys who was up there to spar, and he's chose for whatever reason. Also, I remember Spencer Fearon saying that when myself and Craig was out there, we looked gassed and happy to be there. Yard was he was doing the whole shake thing, which is fine. Lots of fighters do that, but he also was suntanning on fight week, which is not very good. That is definitely gonna drain you when you're in the desert heat, because he caught a hell of a tan. But hey, maybe I don't know some of the methods, the tactics of the fight. I remember Tunde said to Steve Bunce, I saw in an interview where he said at the end of round 5, I said to Yard, you know what you're doing, yeah? And he said, yeah, I know what I'm doing. So I don't know if Yard deviated from what the plan was, but maybe his plan was I think it was to take Benavidez into the later rounds and then start to try and trade and mix it up and stuff like that. But, I don't think it never even got to that stage. And Benavidez has now stopped him the quickest out of Beterbiev and Kovalev. So I think he's made a mark there, and
Yes.
Yard, unfortunately, I know he's got to work on the stamina because the branding is stamina for sale. You have to work on your engine. You have to live the life of an athlete. If you're not, you can't be half stepping in this because you can get seriously hurt.
Yeah.
And that he did get seriously
Yeah.
hurt in there last night, and he got seriously hurt in the Better Be fight. So you've got to take things. I think he's got to take things a bit more seriously, and not yeah, and take accountability. You know,
Well, when you think about like, if you think your fighter does not know what he's doing, it's time to repeat the instructions, isn't it?
yeah, but I think
I'm
maybe
not asking you if you know what you're doing. I'm asking you, or I'm telling you what you should be doing. It's like drills, repetition, drills, repetition, drills. Keep on repeating it, repeating it.
well, I'd like to know what the initial game plan was. But maybe we'll find that out
Yeah, maybe.
in the
I'd like
future.
to know who the sparring was. I think sparring does help when you're preparing for such a high caliber of fight. I'm not saying that he didn't have sparring. I said I'd like to know who it was. If they choose to keep it secret, then fair enough, that's their thing. Um, but yeah, you've got to now like say, okay, if you're going to carry this on, there's fighters in the UK that you need to go up against.
Yeah. Shout out London, ball out Jack. I know you're saying you're blaming Tunde. You can't let him off. Um, yeah, I know a lot of fighters, a lot of fans are saying that.
I ain't blaming
Um,
him.
I'm not blaming him. I'm not blaming him at all. I don't think Tunde would have made that game plan to lay on the ropes and take a whole heap of combination because he even said, and don't let him get off 14 punches in a row and you don't punch back. Even when he was getting hit in that seventh
Didn't he have
round,
Benavidez arm locked? So Benavidez like kept on punching him like to let go of my
no,
arm.
but
He turned into like
yeah,
a demon. He
yeah,
was a demon in there. That wasn't no boxer. That was somebody that wanted to kill you.
yeah, that's roadman science. But what I'm saying is, what you got. I don't think Tony was just talking about just that sequence. In general, Benavidez was reeling off combinations like he was going out of fashion, like it was a closing down sale. So he was saying, don't let him reel off so many combinations of a head and body, head and body, head and body, and Yard is just backing up, like trying to get around the ring and backing up. So he's
But you
like,
know what would have pissed off their team even more? Sorry, apologies to cut you there. From the get go from the fight, well, Benavidez has gone up to 175, but he hasn't managed to stop anybody yet.
yeah.
Shut up, man.
Well, I said, all that talk is about who you're fighting because when you're fighting guys who are the
16 weeks.
hmm? Well, that's a long time. Well, they had enough notice, I guess, yeah. But when you're fighting guys like Gvozdyk and Morel, they're not the easiest men to start knocking out, is it? As I
Mm-mm.
said, if he had fought in his debut, Ralph Vilkans, like
Imagine.
Yard's second to last opponent, he'd have knocked him out in round 1 or 2 rounds. And then his second fight, instead of it being Morel, he could have had Lyndon Arthur. He'd have stopped Lyndon as well, so he'd have had two for two. Whereas Yard went points with both of those guys, Benavidez would have took both of them guys out. And even Joshua Buatsi, I don't know how confident he would have felt getting in there with Benavidez because had Benavidez been in there with Zach Parker, I'm pretty sure he would have got rid of Zach Parker, running around the ring or not. He would have got rid of that brother within 3.
You best leave Boatsy out of this.
I'm just saying.
So anyway, I mean, fair enough, we could go on about this. This is a song that's been played before. Like I said, it's constructive feedback coming from a good place, not a place of hate. Because like I
Absolutely.
said, there's a few of us that wanted him to win, whether they're in this live or not. That's the case because it's out there on tape. But congratulations to Benavidez, a fantastic fight, a brutal fight. And he's decided that he wants to jump up to cruiserweight and he's immediately gone for the throat of Zerdo Ramirez. I've had a few WhatsApp messages from Mick Francis, who is obviously to do with Jaya Pataya. basically saying that Zerdol's ducking Jai Appetite. There's so much going on now. What base? I'm gonna point this one back at you. What do you think about obviously Benavides? If you haven't given your full essay on this one, and him obviously now jumping up to cruiser.
I told people he was going to do this from last year.
Oh, okay.
Like the thing is, they're trying to act as if they just found the opportunity and now
Yeah.
and they're going to take it because they're tired of waiting for. No, he's been talking about going up to cruiserweight since like October, November 2024.
Oh,
To the point where he's even spoken on numerous times in numerous interviews about fighting Zurdo Ramirez. This is before Zurdo unified with it's before he even unified with Chris Billum Smith. Like he's had these thoughts in his mind, him and his dad, because what they've done, and they've done this quite well through many times, so a lot of people don't ever seem to catch it. But I've got time, so I see these things. The dad will say one thing, then David will say another. And then Samson will say something totally different. So they give you three different things. All of them are probably telling the truth, but they're telling it from different timelines. And I've noticed this from time to time to time. It's the same way when I've spoken about, and I'm not going to go through the whole thing, I promise, but spoken about David not really wanting that Canelo fight. And the fact
Really?
that when he had the opportunity to have that Canelo fight,
yeah.
he turned it down. So there's two fronts on that. If you want to know the quick history to that,
Yeah.
when Canelo was on DAZN with Matchroom doing the flats with Matchroom and that, he's talking about Canelo non-stop.
Yeah.
As
he
soon as
was.
Canelo went to PBC, him and his dad both stopped talking. His dad even apologized for some of the words and stuff that he was saying about Canelo, saying, "Oh well, we were just trying to promote." And there's the evidence there. Then when he left the PBC to go and do his freelance thing, they start talking again. He went up to light heavyweight and won an interim title against Vosdik, right? He was elevated to interim title. He had the interim title there. He also had the interim title at 168. Mauricio Solomon, as slimy as he may be at times, he said, "You have the choice. Do you want to keep your interim at 175 and we will call for you to be the mandatory of Better Beef? Or do you want to be interim at 168 and we assure you we will call for your mandatory against Canelo?" He chose to stay at 175. So everyone's saying, "Oh, Canelo duck, Canelo duck."
Yeah.
You had the opportunity to fight him, you didn't. You never once forced a mandatory on him. And so therefore, calling saying, "Yeah, I want to fight you, I want to fight you, I want to fight you," never once forced a mandatory. So when you kind of look at all of that, and now you look to say from last year, he's had multiple articles, comments. "Yeah, I'd love to go up to cruise. Maybe I'd even go up to heavyweight. Oh, I'd love to face Zurdo and da 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 da." Now all of a sudden, you have this fight. Because this fight wasn't even on the radar. Let's not forget, the only reason he had this fight is because Turkey came in, offered a lot of money.
Yeah.
Because prior to this fight, he was saying, "I don't want to fight in Saudi. I'm an American fighter. I'm a Vegas fighter. I've made all this effort
that's
to
true.
be a pay-per-view star. I don't want to go over there."
That's
All of
true.
a sudden, there was no fight to have in America. They gave him this one. He thought it was an easy touch. He took it. Now all of a sudden, he's going up to cruiserweight. He's not coming back down, regardless of what he says. He's not going up to 200 pounds and then trying to come back and squeeze back down to 175. Same way he went up to 175 and didn't go back down to 168.
Okay.
He's not coming back down. He's going to go up there. He's going to have this fight to avoid Bivol and Better Beef, regardless of what he says, because he had the opportunity. He now has the opportunity to stay and compete with them. He can't make the weight correctly. We can already see that he's tight at the weight.
Yeah.
So he's going to go up there and now he's going to he's basically going to go up there and fight people that were former either light heavyweights or former super middles who have also gone up there. He's not going to fight any bona fide cruiserweights. And if he does ever go up to heavyweight, it's going to be towards the back end of his career when maybe he can be a bit faster than the other guy. There's a lot of angling in what he does. But what I will say is when he is in the ring, for better or for worse, he does deliver, and I will give him credit for that. I've bet against him a couple times. He's proved me wrong a couple times. So I have to respect that, because if I bet against you, clearly you have to be better than what I thought, unless I've seen certain things in certain fights, which that's a whole nother story. But yeah, ultimately he's going up there. Yes, it's a good fight, but guess what? They could have had the same fight at 168 when they were both champions. Never
And did
unified
it?
the title. He didn't face Caleb Plant when Caleb Plant was a world champion. Waited until after he got beat before he faced him. So he's had 4 interim titles in his entire career. He's beat one world champion, which was not Andre Durrell. It was Anthony
Anthony.
Durrell. That's the only champion he's beaten. He's had three interim, well, 4 interim belts if you include the WBA that he got from Morrell when they had their unification of interim titles. So congrats to him. I'm sure it will be a fun fight against Zerdo, but all of what he's done so far does not put him on the pound for pound list. That's another thing I'm extremely annoyed and agitated by. But that's subjective. That's opinions of people that don't really know better, or they should know better, but they're choosing to play politics. But yeah, Zerdo and Benavides, it would be a good fight, but I think it's 5 years too late. Although at least now neither of them can complain about being weight drained or well, I was tired of the weight, whatever. So they can both be fleshy and flabby together. So they should all have
Hey,
confidence. So that's
monsters
what.
don't win fights.
Yeah, exactly. In my opinion, I think it's clear. Yes, the base made some interesting points, but I think it's clear as day that Canelo's been in various interviews saying, "Why should I fight him for? Why should I fight him? What does he bring? Just
Yeah,
just
true.
extra weight." He was not interested in the fight, and guess
The
what?
fight
When you
was
look,
never ordered.
if you yeah, but
If you want the fight, you make them force the fight. You make Canelo have to drop the belt. If you really want it. Again, as I just said, they offered him to fight. They said, "We will make sure that you are called next," and he decided to go to 175 instead and stay there.
well,
I
we
can show
don't
you the
know.
interview where he even says it. He
Yeah, well,
even talks about it.
but we don't know what was in the back of the scenes, what Canelo might have done to navigate around that's things like that. I just don't believe he was
Danny,
interested in the fight.
look,
And guess what? I
you
can
love doing this
understand
with the
why.
BBC guys, and every time I'm always right.
No, but
I'm
this
always right
one you're
when we
wrong.
do
This
this when
one
it
you're
comes to
wrong.
BBC guys. Do we
This
really
one
want to
you're
do it again?
this one you're wrong. But but
I'm
forget
not
about
wrong. I've
Canelo.
got the receipts. You
All right,
don't.
all right. Forget about Canelo then. So even when he's got up to this 175, the reason why he's not fighting Bivol or Beterbiev, one, the Bivol has just had back surgery, so he's not available to fight. We all know this. We don't know when he's going to come out. Hence, Beterbiev has even wrote a statement saying, "How long are you trying to wait? You wait until I'm 50 years old? Do you want to fight? Where's this trilogy? Where's this trilogy?" Beterbiev was scheduled to be on this very card on Saturday against Dion Nichols. For whatever reason, he's pulled out. So he obviously clearly was not available for this fight. I don't know if
It
he was
was
injured.
Nichols that actually pulled out, not Better Beef.
No, Dion Nichols has put statements out and said that it was not his team, that he
It
got
was his team.
informed. He said that he got informed. I can pull up the receipt on Instagram and Twittex that he's the one who announced that the fight was off. So and he said he doesn't know why, what's happened, etc., etc. The thing with Zerdo, yes, they definitely, I feel, from their spars down the Brick House gym, have come to some agreement that one day maybe the spars were so good and everyone enjoyed it. They probably said, "Hey guys, you guys, this needs to be on TV. People will pay for this," and they've probably come to an agreement back in last year, November, whenever it was, because yes, he did talk about going up to Cruiser and fighting Zerdo from back then. So yes, and hence they're making it on Cinco de Mayo week for the Mexicans. So I guess this is going to generate good money. But he has said that he is looking to do this one fight and then come back down to 175, which I do think is sensible because he does not beat Jaya Pataya in my opinion.
He's not
But
coming back down, Danny.
but what I
No,
think
no.
what I think he should do, I don't know if he's gonna do it. The sensible thing would be, I know some people might not like it, but
What?
Zerdo Ramirez did in his first debut fight at Cruiser fight at the old cruiserweight limit of 190. And so I'm thinking if David Benavidez and him agree to have the fight at 190 pounds because they're both former start off at 168 guys, then it gives a chance for where he's not too far ahead of the because if you got to 200, that's 25 pounds to lose. Yes, it's fat he'll be losing, so it's not going to be as taxing on the body as losing muscle. But if you're coming at 190, then you just have to lose 15 pounds to get back down to light heavy, and you can resume your career. And at this stage of Better Beef's career, by the time he does fight Better Beef, if he does come back down and fight him, he'll be 42 years old. I think he'll be too fast, too youthful, etc. But yes, if we're talking about prime Better Beef, yes, of course, I believe he would have beat Benavidez. Same way I think Jaya Pattaya would beat Benavidez. But I think stylistically wise as well, I think with the volume and the pressure and the constant pressure on someone like Bivol, especially a man who's, if he's coming off of an injury like a back, which is very very alarming. That could be career ending.
Yeah.
I feel he'd beat Bivol as well, and he's obviously got confidence because he reckons he dropped Bivol in one of their spars. So hey,
Danny, all right, let's do this because I like making money off you, right? Do you want to bet? A simple bet that he's not going to come back down to light heavyweight after this fight with Zurdo Ramirez. So basically, you've got all of next year. You can have a little bit of 2027 if you want it as well.
Oh my
But
god!
we gotta have, let's put some money on this. Seeing as you're very confident that he's actually going to do what you're saying he's going to do, and I'm telling you that his whole career, his pattern of behavior tells me he's not going to do that. Do you want to? Do you want? You don't have to. You can say no.
Cheeky fiver.
No, we got to bet for proper money if we're going to do this. He knows. He knows what.
Oh, really? Oh no.
So it's your question. What do you want to do?
Let me ponder on this one.
Okay.
Oh,
you got until next week.
Are you not that confident?
Well, I don't know.
No,
It's
it's fine. I'll give him till
no,
next week. I'll
no,
give him till next
give
week
a
to
big
decide.
beat.
on the spot. You can't just put a man on the spot.
You can if you're confident.
Well, this is about weight. This is not even about a fight.
Yeah.
So now we are talking about it. He's not. He's what I'm telling you. You don't go up to cruiserweight and then come back down. Remember, let's not forget. Roy Jones Jr. went up to 190 to come back down to 175 and got splattered all over the ring. You really think Benavidez wants to do that?
That's muscle. He lost muscle.
And
It's more dangerous to lose muscle than fat. Way more dangerous.
all right, like I said, you got a week. You're on the clock.
Danny,
I want a response next week.
down.
Okay, bouncer.
Because if you're gonna be this naive, I at least need to make some money.
Okay, 24 hours.
It's over, buddy. What are we doing here?
Thank you.
But yeah. That's it. We'll see. The saga continues, guys. The saga continues.
All right, we got anything else that we need to discuss from the weekend?
Well, I've just finished watching the Lucas Rohrig fight, and that was an exciting fight. Gosh,
I ain't watched it yet,
Yeah, that was he was in a real fight there. Good grief.
What, was he in trouble?
Well, yeah, he was in an exchange. I don't know if the ref said kind of break, but not in time, and he got clocked and he went over in the first round.
Did he?
Yeah. But it wasn't counted as a knockdown because it was like on kind of on the break, but it was like literally a split second. So it was really like a touch, and yeah, but he wasn't that hurt. But then he did get hurt in the second round by a shot. But then he managed to drop the guy in the second, and then with a headshot, like on a counter, and then he dropped him in the fourth round with a body shot, and he also got a point taken off in the eighth for low blows.
What?
So
He had a bad night at the office then.
it was a rockers, man. It was a rockers. So you should download that one on Channel 5.
All right, I'll watch that.
Yeah.
The only thing I wanted to say before we go is that obviously Lawrence Okoli's up to his tricks again. He's called out Dillian White to fight him because when we spoke, when I spoke to Lawrence Okoli, I think it was last week now, he did say that he hadn't got an opponent yet. So he got some conversation. Amir Khan put out an offer, blah, blah, blah. And then Lawrence Okoli said, you need to accept that you're a journeyman. Just take the fights or retire, blah, blah, blah. And then Dillian's management team has laughed and said, look, not enough time, 3 weeks. We spoke about this fight how many weeks ago? About 4 weeks ago. You didn't offer us any substantial amount of money. So what are you on about, basically? So that's sort of still bubbling. And I think Dillian's manager said, hold on a minute, why don't you fight Riakporhe? You've avoided fighting him for years, etc., etc. So that's simmering in the background. Probably nothing's going to come of it, but yeah, that's something that's just kind of happened this evening that I've been keeping my eyes on.
Yeah, I saw the post. Lawrence Cody's playing some kind of 50 Cent song with his face against Dillian White's face. I didn't read the caption, but I imagined it was some kind of call out.
Yeah,
Yeah.
but that's it really. I don't think anything. Has anything else been happening? Anything on Twitter?
Well, I
No.
know. Well, as much as a lot of people won't know, I feel like it's relevant for us to at least just give a quick mention to
Mm.
Takuma Inoue taking on what's his name? What's it? He's a former kickboxing world champion, the one that Floyd Mayweather beat up in that exhibition that they had.
Oh,
Oh,
no,
he's going to say something else.
that's
I
not
can't remember.
that's not Sasaki. That's
Not
Twin
Sasaki, but
Twin
there's some.
Shin
It sounds similar to that.
Shin
Yeah,
Twin.
Tenshin Nakatani. That's it.
Yeah.
Nasakawa.
Yeah,
Nasakawa,
Tenshin Nasukawa,
Japanese.
Yeah, that fight I think is taking place on Wednesday. I think
Is
it's
it?
taking place tomorrow. Yeah. Or
Like
it might
midday
have been
or
today,
something?
actually. I'm not sure. Let me double check.
yeah. It must be midday because that's their timing, really.
Inoue versus Nasakawa.
When's that? Sorry, tomorrow.
It might be to. It might have been today. Hold on.
No.
Oh wait, no. So it was yesterday. Shit.
Oh, it's Monday.
So
Okay, Inoue won. Oh, he beat him by unanimous decision. So Nasakawa lost his undefeated record.
Okay, well
It was
done.
for the vacant WBC bantamweight. I thought it was. I didn't actually hear anything, but I knew it was this week. Okay, interesting. I'll have to go and pick that one up because Nasakawa's okay, but Takuma Inoue, I thought that would be a good fight. So anyway, commiserations to Nasakawa, but he can learn. I think that was only his 8th pro fight, maybe his 9th. So they in Japan you only get like 2 or 3 gimmies, and then everything after that is they put you against it. They basically matchmake the same way that Matchroom does, but they believe in honor. So, but yeah, shout out to both of those guys. I need to try and find that fight to watch.
And also, rest in peace to, is it, I can't pronounce his name, Vanez.
Oh,
Martin.
Vanez Matarosian.
Thank you. Rest in peace, another fighter that unfortunately cancers took from us far too early, born 1986, and unfortunately just passed. So rest in peace to him.
Indeed. Yeah. Right.
What was happening when we next week?
Yeah, we'll have to be because Ben's on, so we gotta discuss Ben
And Fraser and TKV.
Yeah, them as well.
Yeah, so there's a couple of bits to discuss, guys.
And
what I will say,
that's all your sides of the street as well. So
it is. But I think I'm going to do press conference at one, weigh in at the other, and fight night in Birmingham. Because obviously it's Whitaker's debut, isn't it?
Yeah.
Matchroom debut, as it were. And obviously Birmingham's just a stone throw away from my home. So yeah. easy night for me.
Maybe we'll do a fight talk live watch along to coincide with that. Me and Danny, we can talk.
Yeah, do
in
it.
the background.
And congratulations, because you did good numbers on the weekend as well. Guys that have been slagging me off, I can't do late nights. I'm sorry. I'm like Bagpuss. I need my bed. But the guys smashed it. So shout out to these guys. It looks like they'll be doing another one again soon. We'll have to do Monaco. What are we saying about Monaco?
Yeah, that could work.
When is that? Next week?
Yeah.
Yeah, that could work.
We'll see how it goes. But thanks to all the guys in the comments. Really appreciate every single comment that comes up here. For the ones that we can interact with, we always do. We love the fact that you guys keep on coming back. It looks like Tuesdays at 8 p.m. seems to be our time. It's working really well. And as Bay said, Maestro is here in spirit, but he's doing his own things in New York. And the time scales, the time zones, it just didn't seem to marry up too well. So you've got the three of us, like I said, the three of us. So you can't thank one without the other. But anyway, yeah, I'll leave that there. Carrot juice.
With some rum in it.
Mm-mm.
Okay. Well, yeah, I think we've it's been a good one. I hope you guys, anyone watching on the playback, please be sure to like, subscribe, share, hit the hype button, hit the thumbs up button, and subscribe to October Red Media, Base the Kid at the Hardcore Casual, Fight Fan TV Live. Also, Maestro did do a video last night. Also, so you can check that out at Maestro Milka. Also, subscribe to Fight Talk Live as well, if you please. Subscribe to the Instagrams, the Twitexes. All that will be in the descriptions, I believe. And until next week, remember, guys, persistence beats resistance. You know where it is.
Got my white fingernails.